Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at noon.
We start with new information on a motorcycle crash in West Fargo. Police have confirmed that a 38-year-old man was found unconscious at the scene with a large gash in his head. West Fargo police responded to the crash around 10:30 p.m. on Wednesday at the intersection of Star Avenue and 17th Street East. The driver was taken to the hospital, but his condition is not known at this time. Our reporter on scene saw officers picking up the motorcycle and broken parts from it. Stay with us here on Valley News Live or the VNL News app as we learn more. New for you at noon, many Wall Street analysts raised an eyebrow at the latest job report. Payroll rose by 4.8 million in the month of June, far higher than analysts expected. This brings the U.S. unemployment rate down to 11.1%. This is the second month in a row we have seen a lower unemployment rate, but still far above the historic lows of the 3.5% we saw earlier this year. Some analysts caution against too much optimism. They say these numbers have come slightly before the nation started seeing coronavirus cases spiking in many areas of the country. According to the Labor Department's report published 2 weeks ago, Florida and Texas saw some of the greatest reductions in first-time claims for unemployment. But that's where some of the biggest spikes in coronavirus cases are occurring. Now, taking a live look outside, it looks like it's staying hot and humid from what we can expect for the rest of the day. Let's check in with meteorologist Justin Fanfarelli.
And good evening, everybody. Temperatures across the region are starting to rise pretty nicely. We're into the lower 80s into the Devil's Lake Basin, mid 80s up and down the Red River Valley, low 80s into Lakes Country, but upper 80s out toward Jamestown. And it's not only the heat, it's the humidity too. Dew points across the region are now into the lower 70s as you make your way up and down the Red River Valley and into portions of Minnesota, still into the lower 70s. Oppressive humidity, a little drier out toward Jamestown, but not much. Most of the people in that direction experiencing mid to upper 60s dew points. So really humid out there. Also, the southern or southeasterly winds have also started to pick up 15 to 30 miles per hour in some locations. So we are still mainly clear outside. Lots of sunshine, but we're also seeing some shower and thunderstorm activity start to begin, but it is just off to the north and to the east of the Bismarck area. Mostly sunny skies and hazy conditions, the story, with temperatures into the lower 90s. We'll have that full 7-day forecast coming up later in the newscast.
Very good. Thank you so much, Justin. And we have new information on COVID-19 within the region. In Minnesota, health officials have confirmed 500 new cases of COVID-19 in the state, along with 13 new deaths. That brings the total number of active cases in the state to 3,589, while the death toll still sits at 1,458. 32,168 patients are listed as recovered. The North Dakota Department of Health is reporting 43 new COVID-19 cases in the state, bringing the active case count to 342. 17 of the new cases are in Cass County, 14 in Burleigh County, and 3 in Grand Forks County. 19 people are currently in the hospital with the virus. 3,235 are listed as recovered. The death toll still remains at 80. Many in the Valley agree that the 4th of July holiday just isn't the same without a trip to the lakes. But this year, things are different. Not only were the fireworks canceled, but restaurants and shops are still on strict guidelines. Zorba says they're one of the many enforcing a 6-foot distance rule. Restaurants and bars must operate at 50% capacity and not exceed 250 people in both indoor and outdoor settings. You're going to need a reservation, and masks are required for workers. If you plan on walking around to different retail shops, Governor Walz says they can operate at 50% with a COVID-19 plan in place. Authorities want you to keep in mind that things like firecrackers, bottle rockets, and Roman candles are illegal in Minnesota. We have more information on the Valley News Live app. A Moorhead artist took her talents to the streets, creating chalk art of a city leader. On the corner of 8th Street and Main Avenue, Kim Jor chalked a larger-than-life portrait of Mayor Jonathan Judd. The portrait is captioned, "Thanks for your leadership." In response, Judd posted on Facebook saying, "I'm honored and humbled to be one of her artistic creations." He also thanked the artist for sharing her talents with the community. More than 128,000 Americans have died from the coronavirus. From coast to coast, many states are rolling back their reopenings as they see a record number of new cases. CBS's Laura Podesta is in New York City, where officials are holding off on indoor dining to try to avoid a spike.
President Trump is hopeful the coronavirus will die down.
I think that at some point that's going to sort of just disappear, I hope.
The comments to Fox Business were similar to what he said in February.
It's like a miracle, it will disappear.
Vice President Mike Pence traveled to hard-hit Arizona yesterday, one of several states that have shut businesses back down.
And I've instructed the acting Secretary of Homeland Security to move out immediately on providing the additional doctors and nurses.
Health officials say bars are a big spreader of COVID-19.
If you're in a state where they're closing, it's for good reason.
Texas closed bars last week as it continues to see a record number of new cases. Houston paramedics say because of the glut at hospitals, it's taking longer to transfer patients from an ambulance to an emergency room.
You know, it was taking 20, 30, 35 minutes, now has doubled in certain instances.
In parts of California, bars and indoor dining are closed for the next 3 weeks.
I'm going to ask for a refund on 2020 and get the 2021 model.
New York City is keeping its ban on indoor dining after seeing what's happened elsewhere.
Honestly, I was hopeful we could, but the news we have gotten from around the country gets worse and worse all the time.
Cases may be up in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, because students who've tested positive are purposely being invited to parties to infect others.
We thought that was kind of a rumor at first. We did some additional research.
Tuscaloosa City Council passed a mask ordinance requiring face coverings in public. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
There are reports that the students were inviting COVID-positive people to the party and would gamble on who would get infected next. In our consumer alert this afternoon, the largest voter registration drive in history is being held on social media. Facebook kicks off its voter registration drive with the stated goal of registering 4 million voters tomorrow. And we're getting a look at what you can expect to see on your app. Every American of voting age will see this message at the top of the Facebook app with information about how to register to vote. This will link to your state's registration website or a nonpartisan partner site. There will be additional registration drives on Facebook and Instagram and Messenger throughout the summer as registration deadlines approach. 5 U.S. airlines have reached an agreement with the Treasury Department for portions of $25 billion in federal loans. The money is aimed at softening the blow of the coronavirus pandemic on their businesses. American Airlines, Hawaiian Airlines, Spirit Airlines, SkyWest Airlines, and privately held Frontier Airlines have signed letters of intent for the loan terms. The Treasury Department didn't disclose the amounts and the terms of the loans. The airlines were required to put up some form of collateral to secure the loans. Coming up at noon, Black artists across the country are experiencing growth in interest in their work as demand for diversity and inclusion grows. But next, it's weather to plan your day.